How can this be so? We were told initiations didn't happen in the Royal Air Force when we asked why your son died suspiciously. Well, here we go. The article that you see at the start, that came up in my memories. And I wondered if the Daily Mail or the Sun or the Record or any media, any journalist has followed this up to find out what happened. What was the outcome of the RAF investigators? What was the outcome? How did the RAF deal with it? Because they're more concerned that this was leaked into the public eye. They would rather have dealt with this in-house. They don't want the public to know what goes on. Because barbarity that shames the RAF. Sickening video of a naked young airman in initiation ordeal triggers police investigation. Now the RAF told us initiations don't take place in the Royal Air Force when your son died of a suspected suicide. And I said, does initiations take place in that camp? And they laughed at me as if to say, no, we're the Royal Air Force, we don't do things like that. We're the boys in blue, we're the Brilkeen boys, we don't do that. That's not our forte. Well, get your head out the sand, or the hierarchy. Get your head out the sand. And senior ranks, you should be ashamed of yourselves for allowing this to happen. Ashamed. The RAF police investigator will decide whether the airman was forced to go through this grotesque ordeal. Do you think he wanted it done to him? Or are you going to put it down as a prank that went wrong, like you told us? I'm going to tell you a story now. The RAF insisted it didn't tolerate bullying or initiations. Bullshit. Cpl Williams was Robert's training corporal, or he was the section commander. And in his statement, Robert died on the Saturday, getting into the Sunday. Now the Friday, Cpl Paul Williams stated in his statement that he beasted my son. And I wanted to know what form of beasting took place. Now it's in his statement that he beasted my son. He knows the difference between training somebody and beasting somebody. He's a corporal, he knows the difference. But when the RAF police and Thames Valley police investigated it, it came back, no form of beasting took place. Aye, it did, because the corporal put it in his statement. He knows the difference. The Thames Valley police, being civilian police, don't know the difference. The training regime. The RAF know. And if he stated that he beasted Robert, then he beasted Robert. They still never told us what form of beasting took place. Was it a team effort or was it individual? If he just done it to Robert, then it's bullying. And it states here, no, the RAF insisted it didn't tolerate bullying or initiations. So if it was a team effort, then it's to build up. If it was an individual by Cpl Paul Williams on my son, then it was bullying. So these are the memories that come up on minds. People will forget all about this, but we don't forget, because we live with it constantly. Now the story I'm going to tell you is, I've changed the names to give the boy anonymity. Robert died on September the 4th, 2011. And in December 2012, on the same base, RAF Benson, that was run by Richard Mason. A young boy was put through an initiation and he had to go to hospital because he had a foreign object inserted into his anal passage. Aye. But the police weren't involved. They didn't know anything about this. This was Richard Mason and the officers at RAF Benson tried to hide this. And a disgruntled RAF personnel got in touch with us and he told us where it happened, who it happened to, and who was involved. So we'll call him Mr. Black. So Mr. Black was disgruntled that the RAF never done anything about it and never involved the civilian police. So once he gave us all the information, we passed it on to Thames Valley Police and asked them to look at this, because it was on the same base that our son was based at when he died. So they went to the Royal Air Force with this information, and the Royal Air Force says, we'll look into this, we'll deal with this. So they passed it on to the Special Investigation Branch, the SIB, at Bryce Norton, and a sergeant was put on the case. Now, this sergeant, he's like somebody for G4 with high vis. He went in to investigate it, and his findings were, yes, this did happen, and yes, a young airman had to go to hospital because he had a foreign object inserted into his anal passage, but no further disciplinary action is going to be taken against those involved because it was a prank that went wrong. That's what he stated. It was a prank that went wrong. Now, I would love to speak to that man. How would he feel if his son was at his work? Didn't he work in the military? Say he worked in an office or he worked in a garage and he came home for his work. And how was your work today? I had to go to hospital because some of the guys in the work inserted a foreign object into my anal passage and I had to go to work. Do you think that sergeant would say, oh, it was just a prank that went wrong? Or do you think he would follow it up? Do you think he would get the police involved? The Royal Air Force were more upset that we found out about this initiation that took place in Benson and passed it on to Thames Valley Police. They were trying to find out who leaked the story. So don't tell me that the RAF insisted it didn't tolerate bullying or initiations, because either day. So that happened in 2012, just after our son was killed at RAF Benson. And I still, to this day, this is the 14th of March, to this day, I still believe my son was put through an initiation at RAF Benson and it went totally tits up and it cost him his life. To this day, I still believe that. Because if the RAF done such a great job, such a great investigation, why aren't they giving us the paperwork? Why aren't they giving us a statement that the last people to see your son alive? And why aren't they giving us the statements for the service inquiry? Because they know it's in there. What happened to Robert is in there. Let me now remind you what the coroner, Mr. Gardiner, stated about the Royal Air Force witnesses at Robert's inquest. I'll quote him. The characters of the RAF have been brought into question and they haven't been forthcoming with the truth. Unquote. So that's what Mr. Gardiner thought of the RAF witnesses. That's a nice polite way of calling them liars. And the funny thing is, there was nobody in attendance from the Royal Air Force at Robert's inquest. There was no officers there. There was nobody there. There was the inquest support team weren't even there. RAF are hiding in amongst the crowd. And what did they do about that information for Mr. Gardiner? Calling the witnesses liars. So there we go. So now we're going to the main part of this video. That just came up in my memories today. That clipping for the Daily Mail about a poor young boy being put through an initiation. It's the RAF's response that kills me. RAF police investigators will decide whether the airman was forced to go through this grotesque ordeal. Do you think he wanted it done to him? Get your head out the sand, you bunch of ostriches. Move on to the next bit. How you doing, folk? This is J.F.R. I think it's video number 8. Just wanted to give everybody an update. A law firm in London has took on my case and looked through all the paperwork that they've got, because Thames Valley Police have got the other half and they're refusing to give it or even get to their lawyers. So they're working on the paperwork that we've got at the moment, and they're willing to go forward to the Attorney General for a new inquest for Robert. So they're going through, as I say, they're going through the paperwork. They want us to bring up 10 key points that we feel that the coroner never had privy to, or Robert's first inquest never had that information, especially when the second investigation by Thames Valley Police, the amount of inconsistencies that they found in Robert's case. I've not been on doing these videos because it was bringing us down. Believe it or not, it was bringing us down. And Susan and Stacey Ann noticed a big difference. I noticed a difference as well, but I never said anything. But they've actually asked me to slow down with these videos because it was affecting everything we were doing, our daily lives. And I was going back into a hole just by doing these videos. It's very hard to sort of hand the torch over to somebody else to do the work, and that's what we're doing. We're handing the torch here to the law firm down in England for them to take up the reins, and it's a hard thing to let that go, to let them do it when you've been doing it for so long, fighting for so long. But I trust the law firm. I trust them. They've been very honest with us. They've told us that we might need funds to ascertain their own experts in handwriting, DNA, fingerprinting. So that might happen in the future. If we need your help, we will give you a shout, and hopefully you will help us out on that side of it, because they have used their own experts before. The lawyer that's dealing with Robert's case, he's never dealt with the military, the British military. He has dealt with the American military, but he says that American military, if something goes wrong with any personnel or anything, they'll do everything to get rid of them. They don't want them. They'll get rid of them, and they'll get all the evidence that they've got. They'll throw it at the lawyers so that they get rid of the problem. Whereas the British military seems to cover it up, because they don't want the British public to see that there's flaws in the military. So it's better to cover up their mistakes than tell people their mistakes, because there was a lot of mistakes made in Robert's case, and especially the Royal Air Force have tried to cover this up for personnel not turning up for duty, personnel that should have been on duty, no on duty, covering up timings, making sure that the people, the witnesses and people don't give a true reflection of what happened. They've been told to say this and say that. Don't say this, don't say that, even though it's true, but don't say it. The public can't know that we're shite at our jobs. So this is the reason I'm making up this video. This will be the last for a wee while. I'll give you further updates once a lawyer gets in touch with us and tells us exactly what they're doing. So the other channel that I've been using out and about, that clears my mind when I'm away. Sometimes I like my own company. I win all the arguments. I win all the card games. But that's another side. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Thanks for keeping us going. Thanks for sharing my posts. If you're on the Justice for Robert page, please share it. Please share the story. Tell people why you're sharing the story. Tell them about Robert. We'd appreciate that. Because he had a life. And he had a right to life. And that was what was took away from him. So we're his voice now. So please share. And as soon as I get any more updates, I'll let you know. But thank you. Justice for Robert.